We're live.
Okay. Doesn't look like there's many. They're starting to enter the waiting room. Okay. We will call the meeting of the Irvington Architecture Review Board to order. As is usually the case, we will start with continuations and go to revisions and referrals and then on to new matters. We will start, I understand that ARB 21-21 has not cleared the ZBA yet, so we will not hear that case tonight. We will start with 21-27, 7 Strawberry Lane.
If you're here to represent an application, if you can please hit the raise hand button and I'll promote you. Thank you.
Also, those who are presenting an application, please be prepared to share your screen and the materials that you have to offer.
Can everybody hear me?
We can.
Good morning or afternoon, as the case may be. Hear me and see me?
We saw you for a second. Now
Can you hear me now?
we can hear you. Yeah. Everybody else here?
Oh, now you can see me. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
So I'm going to bring up the plans. Once again, we are just doing at 7 Strawberry Lane. Our expectations here are to just change the decking material and to also change the handrail and replace the existing failing lattice panels that go around the bottom of the perimeter of the deck. I've highlighted everything where it was supposed to be this time. So I'm hoping that this is more acceptable than what I presented to you guys the last time. There is only a single door here. You can see that there's a stretch of 5 windows.
We're not seeing, because anybody seeing your screen?
Them, those are all fixed.
We're not seeing your screen.
I'm sorry?
We're not seeing your screen.
Oh,
You have to hit share screen.
yeah. Yeah, can you come here? He's saying that he can't see my screen.
Just share your screen with him.
Share screen?
Share screen.
How about now? Are you okay?
It's coming. There we go. We got it.
My apologies.
No problem.
I'll build whatever you want, but don't ask me to do anything on the computer. Different scenario for me. So this is the rear of 7 Strawberry Lane. There is an existing deck that's there. We are not altering its configuration in any way, shape, or form. We are simply removing the existing pressure-treated deck that has splintering, rusting nails that are popping out. And we are going to upgrade the railing system with a stainless steel Feeney cable rail system and replace the existing lattice panels that are also failing underneath the deck. In my eyes, pretty much self-explanatory. I'm open to any questions or comments that anybody might have.
To my recollection, you've addressed what we had asked you to as far as showing us what the railings and the posts and showing us the that internal, I guess if you want to call it internal staircase coming down that you couldn't see in the other drawings. So
Yes.
Clear. Ken, anything?
Nope.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions, concerns?
Nope.
Nope.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Have a good holiday weekend.
You too.
Yeah.
Hope not to
Thank
disturb
you.
you guys
You too.
again on this. Thank you.
Not a problem. Okay, moving along, we have a revision, ARB 2107, 9 Gray Rock Terrace. Oh, I recognize that company name.
Hi,
There
guys.
he is. Hi,
Good evening.
James.
How's everybody doing?
Good.
I'll share my screen real quick. Are you seeing that? Okay. Yeah, this is a minor revision to a retaining wall that was being replaced in kind.
James, we're looking at the
Essentially,
agenda.
oh, sorry. Oops. Here we go.
That's fine.
So this was the originally approved. It was a manufactured concrete wall that was still a nice option. This is what was approved, and what we're trying to change it to is a more natural, in keeping wall. Essentially, our client got a much better price than what they did on the original, and we wanted to do something more in keeping with the neighborhood. So we're essentially just trading out two different wall styles, but very, very similar. This is more rustic, obviously, more natural and more in keeping with the community. So that's the change.
So the stone in the lower right-hand corner of the,
Correct.
that's what you're looking to do?
Plus or minus, yes.
Okay.
And it's this picture as well, which was just finished in the neighborhood and is pretty common for like almost all of the houses on the street have the same rock walls.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
it's from this to this.
Anybody? Questions, concerns?
No.
I have none. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Very good. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, everybody. Have a good evening.
You too.
All right. Moving right along. A referral from the planning board, ARB 21-42, 19 North Ferris Street. I believe it's an addition.
Nobody's raising their hand for this application right now.
Okay, let me do this.
And Rick, can I ask you to clarify what it means that it's referral from planning board?
I guess they want us to look at the architectural portion of the project before, they get into the work of their, or the business of their work.
Okay.
I didn't get any other explanation rather than that, unless, Sarah, you have any input? I know you sit in on the planning board.
I think I have the chairman's here for the planning board, but I think Ed could give a better explanation than me.
Was it close to what I had said? Because it's, I don't know if it's, I don't know if it's of great importance that we know why, but. Or
Would
at least,
you like, the planning board chairman is raising his hand to speak, if you would like me to let him.
all right, put him on.
Can you hear me? This is Caesar Manfredi.
Hi, Caesar, how are you? It's Rick.
How you doing, Rick?
All right.
And hello to the rest of the board.
Yeah.
It's in the historic district, and while it doesn't meet the code definition of needing an initial referral for comment, not approval, for comment,
Right.
it was in the spirit of the rule that it be sent over to the to the ARB because it's in a historical district. And we want to make sure the integrity of the historical aspects of this building is looked at before we go further. That's
Okay.
all.
Great. Thank you very much. I just want to make sure there wasn't something in particular we're supposed to be focusing in on.
No.
Great.
I don't have the historical documents in front of me. Do we know this is a contributing house?
It is.
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So Caesar, it's Ken Lewis. How are you? The question we have is, I would have, and I'm just going, I've looked at it, and maybe I could bring it up, but I don't know if we should look at it without the people being here, someone representing them. But I'll just ask this in general. In general terms, the location of the addition is probably okay. I think that's fine, but the bulk seems high. It seems bulky, the addition. And this is without having any discussion. Is that the type of comment you're interested in, or is it, say, the footprint of the addition?
I think we're looking to make sure that the integrity of the historical nature of the building is maintained.
Okay.
Because they are putting a new roof on, if I remember. We didn't listen too long because we wanted to send it over to the ARB to get the historical aspect preserved as much as possible.
Okay.
All right, well, I guess we can take a look at the application in that regard, or in that
Yeah,
vein.
keep in mind, Rick, this is not an approval. It's just
No, I get it.
initial comment, and then eventually comes back to you anyway. So,
Right.
Yep. Okay. You want me to pull up my screen?
in other words, if you feel there's some historical nature to what they want to do that they shouldn't do, then let us know. Or if it's within the concept of maintaining the historical nature in the historical district, then you can say that. It's up to you guys.
All right. Do we have someone to present the application?
They don't seem to be here.
The architect isn't.
Isn't there yet?
Mm-mm.
All right. Well, without the application, there's not much we can comment on. We can look at the house, but I'd rather look at the house next to what it is they're proposing. Make any sense?
It's all in the package, Rick. You can see it.
Okay.
But again, I think we would rather have dialogue with the architect. That's always the best way.
All right. Well, we'll bring it up again later in the meeting just to see if in fact they've jumped on the call. All right. I guess we'll move. Thank you, Caesar. We'll move on to.
You're welcome, Rick.
Okay. We'll move on to the first new matter. It's ARB 21-33 8 South Broadway. Broadway Grill and Tavern sign. Just for the record, I had asked a question when we first saw the package. The new sign is the new sign, but they're maintaining the old sign as well, which is a perpendicular sign that comes off the front of the unit. Also, I had asked whether they were going to go back to the original neon part of that, the old sign. And in fact, they said that they will, but under a different cover. So with that, we have the Nielsen's. How are you guys?
Hi.
How are you?
Oh, stop. Sorry.
Oh, no, we're used to it. Okay, so we've seen the application. I don't know if you have the ability to bring it up or to put it on. Your
yeah. Yeah, we have it. I don't know.
Share
Oh,
screen.
share screen. Here we go.
There.
This one.
Mhm.
Okay.
We knew the engineer to be able to figure it out.
So this is the drawing with a mock-up of the sign.
You guys can see it okay?
Yep.
Okay. Basically what we're trying to do, so there's these architectural details that are in the brick of the building, and we're trying to keep the sign within that and give it actually even a little bit of a lip so that you can still see that little inlay that is already there, to kind of, fill
up the space a little. It's very tall up there. And very, very blank looking. The architectural details, the landlord painted it years ago, and there's no contrasting colors or anything like that, so they just kind of disappear. So we're trying to add a little color, fill up the space up there, and advertise the business at the same time.
The background of the sign is black?
Yeah,
okay.
So it'll be black. So here, let me see if I can show you. Well, I guess
it's in the same application if you want to do
it's down here, right? So can you see the thing here?
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Too far.
Scroll up. There you go.
There you go. So this is what the building looks like now. It's really blank. You can see the existing sign on the left, which, like you said, we're going to try to repair properly with our next application. But for now, we thought that, the front of the building, we're going to paint it. And we wanted to put a sign in the front just to fill in this giant void here and kind of, let people know that this is a business and it's open and you're welcome, so, and let me see if where's the, Where's the image of the sign on the building, like a mock-up? Sorry.
Share. That was this, that's this one.
Okay, and so this is a rendering of what we're hoping it'll look like in the end. Forget the neon signs in the windows, so those won't be there anymore. It'll be just the sign in the front and the sign to the left, and the 2 lights on the sign above.
Great. I'm good.
Yeah, looks lovely.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Okay.
More importantly,
Nice
what's on the
idea.
menu? What's
Burgers and wings.
If it's half as good as it used to be, it'll be fine. It'll be-
Okay, we'll try real hard.
Rick, I like it very much. I think it's a great improvement. I just wanted to double check with you, Rick. Are they allowed to have 2 signs? Because I seem to recall this came up years ago.
I don't know to the contrary, to be honest with you. I know that any signs, I mean, we just approved 3 signs on the front of the barbecue place. So I don't think it's the amount of signs. I think it's the total number of square footage based on the square footage of the front. So whatever that frontage is from left to right, and 12 feet high, and then you just divide by
Okay.
0.25.
I thought we had one issue that didn't have to do with the what's written in the code, but had something to do with there being actually 2 signs, not in the window, but affixed to the outside of the building. But if that's not the case and my memory is failing, I understand. Okay, I just want to make sure, because if that was the case, I want to notify you as the owners that if you're hoping that sign that's you're going to repair could definitely be replaced, I just want to make sure that that's not going to be a concern for you. It doesn't sound like it is.
Not that we have.
Sorry, I didn't understand.
She said if we're gonna repair the other sign, that we might run into trouble, but if it's not, not the case, then it's nothing to.
Yeah, we'd like to keep that existing sign. So if
Yeah.
I don't think there's any concern, though. Yeah, we are within that square footage calculation. We saw that same thing on the application as well. So
Right.
hopefully that's.
I don't think if in fact it was going to be a problem, he would have bounced it. I think he would have bounced the two sign situation back already, frankly.
We actually asked like a couple of times, because this is a popular saying around town. A couple people, while we were even
It's
like
been mentioned. So
Yeah.
we several people just to be
in the
sure.
building department.
Okay.
The building department, they said it's all good, so.
Okay, any other questions from the board?
Are you painting it this color? I know we can't say anything about paint color. Are you painting it the same color?
So the building right now is yellow, and we're
Yep.
thinking gray. We're not sure about this light gray so much. We're between grays, but essentially, yes, it'll be the black with the lighter writing, like the sort of, it's not quite white. It's like a cream, like, you know, but yeah, essentially this is what it'll look like.
So in the, just so we're all clear, and again, we're not approving colors, is the lettering on the black sign gold or it's white?
No,
it's a light
white.
gray color.
Yeah.
I don't know if I have it in this.
I thought you did, actually.
I thought I saw it.
There it is.
There it is,
There
yeah.
it is.
Gray
Yep. Okay,
lettering.
great, thanks. Yep.
That's good. Okay. Anybody else? I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Hey,
We're good to go. Thanks.
Good luck.
guys.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Look, and when you opening? You have a date yet?
We're
All right, all
the
right.
health department, that's what they gotta
I'll
get.
call you.
Not soon enough.
Famous
Thank
health
you all.
department.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Okay. Now we go to ARB 2134, 33 East Clinton. Fence. I had commented a couple of weeks ago that while they had an enormous amount of literature on the application, we didn't they didn't circle or tell us what style and that the fencing was going to be and then we were looking at gate style, fence type. So they actually came back and gave us some. So the new application or the amended application, if someone could bring that up, I guess we're looking at the Levinsons. Do you have the ability to bring the up? There we go.
I think
Hi
they're on.
there.
Hold on a second. Computer illiterate.
So this is the, can you see our screen?
Yep. Yep.
Okay, great. So we sent it, I'm showing you the first. Can you grab the thing you just had up?
Yeah.
That showed all the, yep. So it is the picket.
There you go. 350.
350 right here.
Yeah.
That's the style.
And that's
then
a
you
style
have-
for everything, the fences too? I mean, the gates too?
Yes,
Okay.
all same
And
style.
the
And
height?
then, but then we also have,
You also had what?
oh. We also have the post and rail.
Okay. And that's the one on the left?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Could you go to the page that shows where these fences are going?
Sure.
I think it's one of the first.
So is this what you're looking for, the plan?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
it's better if the house is in the picture, but
I know,
We could
honestly,
take you, we could
thought-
actually walk the camera over to the back.
I mean, here's the,
I'm gonna offer help here. This is what I do all day long. So I'm just gonna say, is this the deer fence here? Which one is that?
yes,
Yes.
correct.
Okay, okay, so that a pause, and now I'm gonna change color. And this is the picket. Is that correct?
Yeah, actually, up at, so where you have the, like above the 33,
Yep,
up till about the bottom of the 33, that dot that he drew there, that's
here.
also the post
fence?
and rail. And then where it says 32 and 15, that's all
Mhm.
going to be the picket.
In 34
And 34 and.
okay, so let me try that again. We're gonna get out of here and we're gonna. Okay, so just to be clear, this is, what's that?
That's
Picket.
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 and then the other side is picket too.
So that's picket. And what's the 33 piece?
That's also the post and rail.
Which is the same as above.
Correct.
So
Okay,
that
so
actually
there we
comes-
go.
There you go.
And.
Thank you, Kenneth Lewis.
Ken's fine. And
Ken,
that's the
thank you,
house.
Ken.
Is that the house? Something like that, right?
That's exactly it.
Okay, I'm gonna do a screen grab, Rocco, and I'll send it to you.
Okay.
There. And so I just need to do something. Just like do all day long. Remind me what the top one is. Picket? Yellow is picket.
Yellow is
Yep.
picket
No, yellow is post.
No,
is-
yellow is picket.
and red is post and rail. Ken, if you're gonna mail that to me, Ken, would you also copy Sarah on it?
Yes.
Be one less thing I have to forward. Okay. Anybody have any questions, concerns about the fencing, the style?
I'm just wondering where you, on that one long expanse where you'd go from post and rail to picket or vice versa, is there some kind of a natural division or way that breaks up? Is that what you
Yes, so
decided it?
there, see how he wrote existing. So the post and rail is already in the back,
Uh-huh.
right? There's one space that we were thinking maybe at one point of doing a bridge, which we're not doing. So we're going to fill that space. So that's why he's showing that. And then our neighbors also have the post and rail. And so it looks much better to have the post and rail with them on that 33.
Okay.
And that's why we're continuing it.
Okay. Well, I thought there must be some reason, but just wondering
Yes.
what the logic
Yes.
was.
Okay.
The only other question I had, Rick, is it clear, do you think, on the drawing where the gates are going to be?
The showing, yeah, 3x4 and 5x4.
5x4 on either side? Okay.
Are those your only two gates?
Correct.
That works for me then.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
All right.
Anybody?
Just 1 second before you take it off. So I just want to be sure I got it. What's the address again, if you can remind me?
33 East Clinton Avenue.
What's your address?
33.
No, I'm sorry, your email address.
It's Beth, BETH .p like Peter .rosen ROSEN @gmail.
Okay.
Anybody else? Questions, concerns? I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Ken, for your help.
You're welcome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay. Okay. Due to some issues with the building department, ARB 21-35 will not be heard tonight. It was 2 Clifton Place with fences. They have to work out some issues between him and the building department. So we will go to ARB 21-36, 32 South Ecker. Exterior elevation change is what it's listed as.
Doesn't look like we have anybody here representing the application,
Okay.
raising their hand.
All right, I guess Mr. Levinson didn't get off yet?
Oh.
Okay. All right, so then we'll move on.
Sorry, we'll leave.
Oh, you want us to?
No,
leave?
no.
Okay.
No, that's okay. You can stay on. It's just that you're a presenter now, so we're seeing you.
I just changed them to attendee.
Okay, great. Okay, so now we got nobody from 32 South Ecker. I will make another call. No, let's move on. 21-37, 28 Cedar Lawn Road.
Evening. Sorry.
How we doing?
How are you? Matt Behrens, I'm the architect for this application. Hope you guys can hear me. I will share my screen.
Okay.
Quickly walk you through what we have. This is a legalization for an existing stair and landing that was recently installed at 28 Cedar Lawn Road. If anyone on the board recalls, in 2016, this property was in front of the board for a new front porch and landing and stair, but unfortunately the owners did not build it. They worked off the assumption that they had approval from the board to proceed. Why, I don't know, but that was their assumption. And a contractor came in and said, no, if you just replace the stairs, you don't need to get a permit. Unfortunately, what they did was make the stairs larger and completely changed the look of what was existing. So it never applied to a in-kind replacement. So
Matt, was the original application ever approved by us?
it was, yes, it was back in 2016.
Okay.
It was much different, correct? That was your design in 2016?
Yes, it was,
Yes.
it was much different. It had a roof over the, it had a couple of columns and a roof. It was like a real front porch.
Right.
But I think it was a little bit more than the owners were willing to spend. So they did this as a replacement for the existing stair and landing, which you can see that are dotted in here. The existing stair and landing were in poor shape and needed to be replaced. I'll switch over to the photos so you can get a sense of, if you haven't seen them. This is, hopefully you can see this. Let me just slide it a little. Okay, so this is what it looks like. It's mostly, there's a walkway and a couple of stone pillars here with a widened stairway and landing and some composite railings to act as, this is probably the best shot of it. Kind of blends in with the existing stone that's there now. They've added some solar powered lighting along the pathway. And this is, basically what the replacement is.
So is the stone, is that newly added as well, or was that there in 2016?
This stone, I don't know when.
I don't remember that either.
Yeah, this is new. I don't know when it was added. The stone facing, you're saying, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
So the stone facing is new, the stairs, the pillars, the light fixtures, and the pathway. All of that has been added, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, because I remember this being more of a traditional colonial, and then you were adding a traditional front porch in 2016.
That's right.
Are you saying the stairs are wider than what the original
Yeah.
design was?
They are, yes.
Ken, any architectural issues?
I'm not going to comment on this.
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is, take the lighting, for example. If the lighting isn't in keeping with the house or the neighborhood, you're not suggesting we change anything. You're just asking for it all to be approved. Correct?
It's existing conditions, yes.
The precedent this sets is like, there's no architectural value. It is what it is. Oof.
I mean, it's such a challenge for me because it's not what we would have approved. It's not in keeping with a traditional colonial, and it's not in keeping with what is other designs on the house. So I'm kind of at a loss to, I guess, to suggest to the board, should we try to modify it a little bit to keep it more in character with this design of the house or the neighborhood, or are we left with another choice? I too am a little bit concerned that if we just approve what was not even designed by the architect who's presenting, what path we're going down.
I think that's well put. It's difficult to know what to say. I was feeling the same way. So.
Well, I think it's.
Sorry, go
ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I understand what you're saying, Deborah, and I'm certainly not disagreeing with it. I think this is, I think Rocco said before, this is a new precedent. It's probably not something that happens too often. I don't think the owners had any bad intent. They were told that you can simply replace what was there without permits, and they did that. Unfortunately, it's not what was there. So they're in a predicament now where they've obviously had stop work orders placed, and we've had to go to the planning board, to the zoning board, and now to the ARB to try to get this approved, but it is an existing condition.
Have you cleared either of the other two?
Yes, yes, both planning board and zoning board have approved it.
And then with no changes.
Correct.
I mean, I guess I would ask you as the architect, I mean, architecturally, is there something that you could propose that would make this more in keeping with a colonial, you know, of this style and design in this neighborhood? That from without.
Well, yes,
significant
the
cost.
original design, but I don't know if there's really that much that can be done with this that would have it be more consistent with the design of the house. The neighborhood I'm less concerned with, mostly because it is a mix of different styles. But short of going back to the original design or even putting some kind of a roof over this, I don't think the owners are in a position to do anything that's like that.
Look, we would never, I'll say a few things. One is to eliminate the lights and put a traditional lantern by the door or something, or leave the lights over the door. It doesn't need 5 lights. But again, it is a stair and people want to, you know, they want light on the steps when they walk up. That would be one thing. I almost don't mind the stone veneer, but so be it. That I'm not going to complain about. I think that's a different issue. I hope our friends at DOB are aware of it. And I think maybe the railings get painted out or a color. I don't know. I'd like to hear from others because they're stark.
That's a good suggestion.
Disagree with that. I think,
Yeah.
to me, I think it's the one part of the design that I think is consistent with the rest of the house with the white trim. It kind of ties in that way. But it's not in keeping with the rest of the landing.
With the stone, right, with the stone pillars.
They stick out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even if they were done in a gray or more of a, you know, a taupey color or something that would sort of fall back as opposed to defining those areas between the stone. So, and obviously you don't want a covering over it because it would be so disproportionate to the house.
Right. I like the fact that they kind of disappear except for the contrast of the color.
If the light fixtures on the pillars were removed, do you have a sense of what type of gaping hole would be left there, or what you could do to address that?
I think they could just replace those capstones.
I mean, for me, I think it would go a long way. I know they've already purchased and installed solar lights, so I know that I know there's other options they could do to try to illuminate those stairs and maybe in keeping already with solar lighting that they have. But I feel like the light fixtures on the pillars is one of the most kind of glaring features that we don't typically approve on a house like this. Then maybe it would go a long way to softening the look.
They definitely overwhelm the staircase.
Yeah.
Well, there's 4 of them, but I sort of feel like you would need a light next to the door maybe to round
They have
things
a
off.
door over the door.
Yeah, there's one over the door.
I see that one. I know.
Yeah.
So you think better without anything there? I mean, I agree about taking the 4 of them off.
I could go back to the owner with that as a condition of the approval if that suits the board. And I actually think it's probably a good recommendation.
Anybody else
Yeah,
have any other issues?
Look, I don't want to say this. It's obviously steps need to be lit, and that's a lot of what those lights generally do when you have it over. When you had a porch, that's what it did, right? It would illuminate the steps. I mean, the roof. So if it was something like a low box light that was low profile sitting there, maybe that would be better.
But on all 4 or just the bottom
No,
2?
Just the bottom 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And it's also the color. There's just the sharp black, the dark sharp black against the white rails and all the other white trim introduces another color and texture, and it's distracting. So maybe for the front 2 pillars, some other low profile light that's illuminates but doesn't, it's not so high and it's not so dark.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody else or any other issues? Okay, Matt, do you want to go back to your client and come back next month?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, have a good night. Thanks.
You too. Okay. Moving on, we have 23 Matheson Park. ARB 2138, 23 Matheson Park, exterior elevation change, and then we will go back to 19 North Ferris.
Hello, how are you doing? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, my name's Kathy Sullivan. I'm the architect for this application. And let me share my screen. Okay, I'm going to show you two different PDFs. So this is where the site is located. And well, these are, I called one a rear elevation, but it actually is a side elevation. This is the first side that we'll look at, and then this is the side that has a patio, and the rear yard is behind where the garage is, and this actually sort of functions as the rear.
Can you,
So this
oops, sorry, can you zoom in? It's a little bit hard to see.
On that particular picture?
Yeah, yep.
Sure, happy to do so. Now, I say that with a plum, but we'll see what happens. Let's go over there. I have another photograph of that. It's a little bit closer, but let's see this.
There you go. Okay, great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Go back to size. All right, so the first changes that we're making, there's some changes that are going to be made in the interior that provoked making some changes on the exterior. This is the corner where an existing bathroom is. And because of the changes inside to improve the layout, we are going to remove these two windows. And you can see this is the side of that house. It was a difficult day to take some pictures, but because of the snow. But you can see these two small windows here, these two small windows here. So they're basically going to be removed, and this will all be restored to the finish of the existing sort of stucco surface. On this side of the house, the next change is these three sets of windows. This one will be removed because it helps with the change in the kitchen layout that's happening in that particular space. And you can see right now it's a breakfast nook. So we will be removing this window so a line of cabinets can go against it. Then the next set of changes are on the side yard that I called the rear yard. Let me get to this. And here's a little bit trickier in a sense. And here's a picture here because it helps show the elevation, but it's kind of nice. This is a patio. You'll be looking at this house. And what we're trying to do is keep things a little bit in relation to each other. So what we're doing, this window here will be slightly enlarged and will be imitative of the windows that we saw over the breakfast nook. And because this is where the breakfast nook is moving, this will have a window added. This window will be cut in half. A new window will be added, and then this will be an exterior surface which will have a trellis and sort of the trim to sort of mimic like it's a window. So you'll look at that and have a sense that it's a window, but it will be sort of a blanked out panel. And this particular door right here will be actually added to the corner. There's this is a little 4 foot deep recess, and there's a need for a door, a desire to have a door from this now dining area, breakfast nook area out to this little patio. So those were the changes that we were hoping to get approval for. I can show you this other PDF just because it had a bit more information about the, no, I'm sorry, that was the permit application itself, just in case there were some questions.
So on the window that we're looking at now, you're eliminating obviously the barbecue.
Yes, the Barbara, this here, we will have to, yeah, we'll have to revise that. Yes, sir.
Yep. And then, where, oh, I see it. So there's the window underneath under that overhang. And so you're using that as a model for this window.
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
And was it possible to center it under the window?
You know, I
I'm
could.
not going to fight over it. I just was curious.
There was some issue, I believe, on the inside. But you know what? Let me take a look at that before I say that, because that's an excellent point.
And when you're ready, if you could show us the detail of the trellis in front of the window, that would be
sure. So let's see what here. I think we could try to do that, center it. That looks like it's doable. Yes.
Is that that eating area there? Wait, no,
yeah.
Go back.
The one
yeah. I mean, just check it.
Yeah, good point. Excellent. It would look nice. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks like it got slipped over. It was centered and then it got slipped over. So the next thing is that, so the detail of that window, it's hard to tell just looking at the diagram, the image here.
The image, I don't have it. I don't have the detail.
Okay, then could you zoom in on that window?
Into what the existing window or the sketch?
The sketch. So the window will be framed the same way, and instead of glass, you're going to put what in? What is that, horizontal, like the same as a shutter, or?
It's similar to it. I'll show you on the other side. What this will be the real window right here.
Yep.
Which will imitate the panes, the other guys. What I'm imagining is that this actually will be an infill wall. And so what we'll do is we'll apply the trim around the whole thing. And
so you're using siding. You're using the is this in siding on this particular portion of the house? Yes, right?
No, it's still the same stucco.
It's stucco. So you're putting siding in the window.
We will put over the surface of the window the lattice work that you've seen on the other side. Let's see if I can get to that. So
can I give you my dumb suggestion? Just leave the glass and back paint it and call it a day, and do it in such a way that it doesn't break the glass. You can get a film, or I just think leaving the window and then dealing with it on the inside would be fine, rather than put yourself in a twist.
I have a wall that I'd like to go against that area, so that's.
I know. I'm literally saying go in with some put glass. It's what we would call a shadow box. Where it's a dummy window, and it's just you cut the glass out. You get a piece of either it could be mirror glass, it could be anything else, some tinted glass, dark, but you just put it in there, and nobody's the wiser that it's not just a blanked out window. I'm going to leave it to you because you're going to detail it, but it's hard to tell. I haven't seen that detail for the dummy window. I just haven't. I can't put my mind to it.
Okay. So your thought is to
I'm concerned. If go to the real window for a second, just so we can. Okay.
Go to picture the real.
Please,
Sure.
or show the real window.
No problem.
Right. So you're going to be taking the siding that looks, I'm sorry, is the siding that you're using this siding that you're going to put in here?
No, but I was going to, it's a type of lattice work that is on the other side of the house.
I think you can start to see it behind the second pillar on the, all the way to the left of the house.
Let me me jump to what we were using as a reference. So we can, I think what you're looking at might be the same stuff, but I don't know for 100%.
By the way, I'm just going to show you, if you can go back to that. Oh, yeah, that's good. Stay right there. So roll up a little bit more. The other way. No, I'm talking about the existing window.
I'm sorry, here, this one?
Yeah, so we've done this before where what you do is you have the window, right? Just, it looks like a regular window and there's a permanent shade that's in there. Inside the cavity, looks like the shade's down permanently and the window looks the same from the outside. It's so much easier to do. You just have to be sure that it vents because sometimes there's moisture that gets in there. I always think that like that's the kind of dummy window that does it, but I'm listening.
No, I understand what you're saying. I would need to explore the possibilities of doing that with these particular windows because we're matching the existing in the rest of the house. But I understand your solution and have had that have undone that at my own home at one point actually. It was dry rolled over and we discovered we had a window in the wall. Surprise, surprise. So I think I'll agree to pursue that option and make it happen.
Yeah. I think the hard part is we're not seeing an example of it where it's been done. And there's multiple cases where people come up with great details for doing it. So in the window that we're talking about, let's just say it's this window here, you would have a lattice, right? This would be a grid in here. Same frame, same double hung. If it was this window, I know it's not this window.
What I was proposing to do was to, in the area you're showing with the lattice, that we would actually make the opening be the opening size for the real window. And then we would, in the trim around the window itself, put in over the new exterior wall lattice work, and then do the whole trim around the head trim over the real window and this lattice piece, which is applied to a real wall. So we have an insulated wall, and then have it be like inside the trim of the window.
Okay, fine. I'm fine with that.
I think your issues of the condensation and sort of the moisture trapping, and it can be tricky in that area.
Yep.
Any questions from anyone that anything?
Anybody else? Questions, concerns, issues?
No.
Okay.
I appreciate the conversation because I did not understand that at all until Ken brought it up.
Okay.
I'm sorry for not having a better explanation, but thank you for pressing me to explain it. I'm happy to do so.
Okay.
No problem. Yeah.
Well, at this point, we would have to make a conditional approval based on centering.
Just call it the grid. I'm not going to make it.
No, I'm not even talking about that. I'm talking about centering the window in eating area.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Sorry, Rick.
That's all right. Okay, so I would conditionally approve based on centering the window in eating area 3. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your time tonight.
Yep. Conditional. All right, we're going to go back to referral 2142 19 North Ferris, the addition. Sarah, somebody still there?
Yes, they're here.
Okay.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Bill Witt. I'm the architect for the project at 19 North Ferris. As you know, we referred to you from the planning board, who suggested that the renovation and addition that we were proposing was somehow deemed a demolition or a demolishing of the existing structure. But what we are actually proposing to do is renovate and expand a modest home that has fallen into disrepair. The original house was built in the 1950s. It's very charming, needs lots of work. My client purchased it with the intention of renovating it and expanding it. We reviewed the historic committee guidelines as far as design and alterations of historic structures. Some of those key elements involve trying to position additions into the rear of the house to make sure it's not visible from the street, to match existing materials wherever possible. And that's exactly what we intend to do with this project. I'd like to show you the site plan where you can see. Do you mind if I share the screen?
Not at all. Just while you're doing that, I just want you to know that this has not come to us as a demo request. So we're not prepared, and I would have to have a public hearing if in fact it was.
No, I just see it written that way on the agenda.
That's fine. That's fine, but like I said, I have not been formally asked to approve a demo. So I just don't want to get you going down that path when you're expecting something that's not going to happen.
No. In fact, I wanted to make it clear that's not at all what we were proposing.
Okay, good. Okay, why don't you continue? Oh, there we go.
So now I'm showing you on my screen the proposed site plan. You see the existing house, the covered porch, which basically is a foot off of the property line. And in the back, you can see the proposed addition. If you're familiar with this section of town, North Ferris, very tight quarters. We've got large houses, highly dense area. You can see from this image, which is an aerial view of the tax map. Again, our existing house, our proposed addition, and then the adjacent properties around it. Here are some photos of what's happening there. Here is the existing front of the house. And again, our addition wouldn't be visible from the front. Here's an addition side of the house. Now we are making some changes to this side elevation. Clearly this house has been modified over the years. There was a rear addition put on. There were some strange dormers added to the roof. And there were a set of double casement windows on the second floor that we're proposing to take out and replace with more traditional double hung window that matches the window below. Again, this side of the house will be unchanged. The addition is entirely in the rear. And let me show you, this is again, the existing drawings of the house. You can see that there was a porch, an expansion of the kitchen and a deck put on this house years ago. You can see it here. That actually fell down to the ground, so that's fell off already. These strange looking dormers were clearly added by looking at the structure inside the house. The front, again, unaffected. My client's going to do his best to restore the materials. In fact, we're looking to match the 1x8 siding. We're going to match the very simple 5/4 by 3 trim with drip cap around all the windows. And then while I can't match the front railing exactly, we're going to use it as inspiration for our new rail on the rear deck, but it would need to meet code, so it has certain requirements that would need to be slightly different. Let me shrink this down. Here, by the way, is a photo my client was able to find doing some research on the house. So this is the house shortly after it was constructed in the 1950s. You can see the—
I think 1850s, Bill.
1850, excuse me.
You
Yeah.
really threw me when you said that before.
I'm sorry, I knew the right answer. I wasn't trying to pull the wool over your head. But you can see the house in its original form. My guess is that this is the original siding on this house. When I visited the house, took all my measurements, you could see that that clapboard is the traditional sheathing of the house. Clearly, the covered porch that exists there now was not original to the house, but it's charming nonetheless. I'm going to just bring up an image that shows you, again, some elevations of what we're hoping to do. So you can see from the front of the house, we're not proposing any changes. It's really going to be preserve, do the maintenance that's, has not happened over the past 5-10 years. You can see the addition on the side that has been specifically designed. It's set back about a foot and a half from the side of the structure. So we don't need to line up the siding. We don't need to remove a corner board and extend it. We want this thing to be give them what he needs inside the house, but not impact the look from the front. And I would argue you're not going to see much of it from the side. And what you would see would be in balance and I think harmonious with what's going on with the existing house. We are proposing a small rear deck on this house. Currently, the first floor is about 6.5 feet off the ground. As I showed you in the existing photos, there was a small porch there that had fallen down. And my clients just want to have a little bit more of a back area they can step out of the new kitchen. Let's see, where's my next image?
So it appears you're getting rid of the dormers?
Yes, the dormers are going to be absorbed inside the addition.
Okay.
Those were clearly added. This house has got a 5.5 foot plate height front and back. So you can see a lot of the square footage in the home is hard to utilize. This bedroom in the front of the house, again, 5.5 foot plate height. The existing house had a 5.5 foot plate height with a couple of pop-up small dormers that are being absorbed by the return gable rear addition. Again, here you can see how it's been set back from the sides. The windows, this is where there's this existing double casement window we're replacing with a more authentic double hung window, which will be stacked above the window below. Windows that we're installing new in these bathrooms are again stacked in similar to, in proportion and light pattern to the windows that exist on the house. Same thing holds true with our proposed. Again, we're just trying to be as consistent as we can while still renovating the interior of the house, maintaining the finishes on the exterior, and giving my client the space he needs for his family.
So how many square feet is the house existing and what are you proposing to add?
We're adding 300 square foot on each floor. So the first floor and second floor is each 300 square foot. On sheet A102, the existing house is 1,800 square feet. Our proposed, oh, I'm sorry, I apologize. The existing house is 1,156 square foot. We will be 1,808 square feet. So an increase of 652 square feet on 2 floors.
Can you go back to that photograph of the house?
The ancient one?
Yeah, the ancient one.
Yeah.
So it was 6/6. Wow.
Yeah.
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 That's a great
And
picture.
but based on their height, it's pretty amazing what the height of those windows were. Whew.
Well, the windows are actually quite low set in the house.
That's what I mean. That based on the person standing there, and I
Yeah,
can't
they're both
imagine
tall.
They're very tall women.
They're tall.
Okay, can you go back to the elevations?
Certainly.
So I think what the power of these these very simple houses is their sort of scale, which is small, right? It has this small scale that sort of fits into the neighborhood. They were densely done. They were no doubt, I'm sure you're going to find amazing things. And I would like to be sure that you preserve the simplicity of like the edge boards, that you actually aren't adding lots of trim. It doesn't look like you're doing that. I think that's something that's quite powerful about this. The windows seem logical, 6/6, and carrying that all the way around, it's great. The railing and the front porch are really critical. I'm sort of surprised there's not glass in the front door at some point, because that was such a big deal. Like you have a solid front door, and that was sort of surprising. I'm sure that's.
It's hard to tell from this photo too. I was looking myself to try and see if the existing house had a glass door. I imagine in the 1850s, the cost of glass was pretty high, and that's why we have divided lights, as you know. So I imagine that if there was glass in that front door, there wasn't a whole lot.
It would be like it would be either a 3-panel or whatever it would be. But anyway, that's just minor comment. Can you talk about the foundation wall?
Oh, sure. The existing foundation is it's a stone rubble foundation. In many places around the house, it's been fully parged over. In some places, it's in good shape. In some places, in disrepair. We are proposing a concrete foundation. So we're not proposing a stone foundation on this house. And honestly, if we tried to put a veneer over it, I don't think it would do justice to the existing foundation, because it's not in its purest form. It's got lots of fill-in, lots of grout. It's been parged over in sections through years of repair.
I'm sorry to hear that because we have it too, where it was parged. It wasn't parged on the outside. It was parged on the inside, which doesn't do much good. So that's a little disappointing to hear that you're gonna get rid of it. Are you picking up the house to do the new foundation?
No, not at all. We're not getting rid of the foundation. We're, our new foundation, my point is, our new foundation will be concrete. It will not be stone.
I see. So, and what will you do on the surface of the concrete?
It will have a stucco parge finish.
Okay. So I'm not gonna get to my biggest point, which is the addition to my, even looking at it here, and it would be good if it was 3-dimensional. At some point, we should request that as part of the package. Its bulk feels bigger than the original house. And I know it's not, I know it's a smaller addition, but the way that the roofs are coming together is making it seem like it's being overwhelmed by that. And I fundamentally disagree with your comment that that the addition won't be seen. It will be seen as a sort of straight extension, even with the slight offset. I would hope that the offset could be a little bit bigger and probably more, the charm of the house is in its simplicity. Like it's like a kid drew it, right? With those windows and the two chimneys, which is very rare. And now you have an addition that's just sort of slammed, like it got pulled up to it on, it just does not feel in scale with it. And my suggestions, and I know you brought it up when you were describing it, and there's other ways to solve that, is to drop the eaves so they're either at the same height, that they're at the same height of the original house, or the house sets back more from the facade of the original house.
I just like to point out that, you know, we can't get the square footage my client needs in the house with a 5.5 foot plate. Understanding your point, and I do appreciate it as an architect, I didn't want to have an 8.5 foot plate on the back of this house. So what I did do is a compromise. I set my plate of the new structure at 7 foot. So granted, it's 1.5 foot higher than the existing, but I still have to have modern amenities. I still have to have the spaces that my client needs.
So here's what I'm talking about. You can have, and this is a real conversation I'm having with you, is about that the addition could be, I'm not gonna say flat roofed, but it could be slope roofed. It could be a long dormer. I mean, you're not into that space where the roof is, right? There's not occupied space there. You have some.
No. Yeah, it's going to, it'll trade up from the 7 foot plate height up to an 8 foot.
Yeah. And I'm just saying that's some of the ways that it was done. Like it would just be a dumb frame thing. It would either be a flat roof with a sort of trim coming around it, or it would be, but in the end, it's like sort of like climbing over the top of the house. And I would be fine. I would be fine with a shed or with a flat roof or a flat, a slope roof behind a parapet or something. But it seems like this is just, there's a bulk to it that's like half as big again, and it comes down to that roof coming into it. And that's it. The floor plan seems logical. All the things that you're doing to get to the square footage. I wouldn't even mind, and I'll say it, that you would go further to the west. Is this west? Yes. Further to the west, lengthen it. But that roof is somehow inconsistent with what is the sort of the basic strength of the house. And I don't know the answer. Does it become gambrel? Does it become some other way? But it just doesn't seem like in keeping with it. Now, I'm not going to lose sleep over some of the parts of other things of it, which is the, I don't even know that you had to have the same siding on the building. It's not important historically. And then the back porch is fine. I'm not going to have anything to say about that. Can you go to the plan? Please. Yep. And what's the size of the master bedroom?
Well, we use that term loosely around here.
Yes. I live in a small house.
10 foot 4 inches by 13 feet. These are not large spaces.
That's why I'm thinking you go further south.
Uh,
And you flip the closets. Well, I think you're cheating yourself a little bit, but do you know what I'm saying? If you lost the depth of the closet and or relocated the closet and the door, would you be able to get what you need?
I don't understand what you're suggesting.
Sure. So I'm saying take this dimension here, right? Sorry. Let me try with this. I'm gonna do a little. So let's just say that's the size of a bedroom that you'd need, right?
I'm not saying anything, Ken.
Yep. And
Okay.
shift it so that it's here. And again, I'm not sure that you can get the two doors in here, but to put the, have the closet, I'm just sort of saying, have the closets along this wall and have the bed along that wall, this wall over here.
Happened?
You see what I'm trying to erase?
My fear is I think you're making the house further deeper, which might make it more visible from the area and not less. I understand what you're trying to do by pinching it in a foot, but by going back further, you're exacerbating that issue as well, because it also pushes the deck back and pushes other things back.
I'm less concerned about that than about that relationship between the house, the original house, and this addition. I mean, there's plenty. I did look at those the roof plans, and there's lots of long additions that seem to have happened. They all kind of rotate them, or they put them on one side, so there's a distinction there, and it creates that sort of front and back. I mean, the other way to do it is you just run the roof, right? You sort of tear off the back of the house and you just keep going, which has been done as well. I'm not suggesting that, it's just what's happened.
Yeah, we're truly doing our best to preserve as much of this house as possible. And the roof lines that we obviously studied doing a rear shed, I studied doing a hip on it. I don't want to break the ridge line. I feel like I don't want this to be taller or in any way compromise the view from the front.
I'm just saying the shed, this is not a big shed at the end of the day, even though it may look like it here, right? Because you're going, it just feels like it's bigger on the back. I think it's hard, by the way, I don't think it's an easy job because it is such a small scaled house.
Correct. This roof, and I'm sure you understand, like this plane here is set back 1 foot.
Yeah.
From the eave, it goes back another 18 feet to the center of this roof, a ridge. A shed that starts here and comes up would share the same plane as the wall. And in many ways, I think that the bulk would be more obvious in that situation.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about that because you could put a piece of trim around it and call it that. You cut the roof differently in a way, right? You wouldn't make it have as deep an overhang, though it's not much of an overhang. It's tough because what I see, if you go to the rear elevation, that's when it really just reads like, wow, that feels bulky.
I think, yeah, and I think that in an attempt to do justice to the front and the visible side, this in many ways is what you end up with. A hip, it could be hipped, but again, I'm introducing an element that would never be on a house of this period, or certainly not a house of modest means.
Yeah, but I'm thinking your addition doesn't have to be of the period. It's a period addition. It's you've done a great job preserving the original house. Well, that's what you might do then.
Do a hip?
You might do a hip, but you might do well, it's more complex. Maybe
well, I looked into I think you're looking at the Dutch colonial type roof treatment. I looked into that too. Again, I just think we're mixing too many things. I think the hip might be, I mean, if the board would be open to it.
Sorry. This is what I'm doing is I didn't draw it right. So that's what I'm drawing, right? That's what I'd like to see, just to say it, to be honest. But if you did that, which we've seen, there's a lot on Croton Place, a couple of them where they do this. And then there's the real roof is set 1 foot. It looks like it's set 1 foot back.
Oh, I understand exactly what you're talking about. I looked at that detail and I thought that I would get screamed out of the architecture review board meeting if I presented it to you. If that's something you're open to, I'd be happy to show you that as an option. Again, my intent was just to keep it as a simple return gable that matches the existing.
And that was, sorry, so I can show my colleagues what it looks like is that there'll be a line or there'll be a ridge. Sorry, there'll be a ridge that comes down and there'll be a trim piece that comes across here. And this thing, right, it's still there, but it gives it a different scale on the back.
Right, right. I could see that.
Does it need to be symmetrical? I mean, the driveway side is where you really get the view of that back.
Yeah, you don't see it between the other house, right?
Yeah, this house on the right is very close. Excuse me. There's a little bit more room on the left-hand side.
Well, then maybe what you do is you shift it over. That's where I wouldn't mind either, right? You know what I'm saying? You go flush here. Flush.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're drawing on my drawing. I shouldn't be moving it.
So what you do is you now put the house all the way over here, you know, with a trim piece, and then you pull this side back, whatever that is, a foot.
So you'd have a 2-foot offset on one side and flush on the other?
Basically flush, yes. Is that what you're talking about, Randy? Just to
Yeah, that would help a lot.
I'm gonna try and find this. I know it happens on our street here, home place.
Well, Ken looks, can I ask you a question in terms of the shutters?
Please.
I'm just curious for historical accuracy, whether we need to be adding as many shutters as you are adding. Because I noticed on the original photo, I think the shutters were only present on the first floor in the front. And I was curious for the existing house, are the shutters, how many are on the existing house now? Are they on the sides?
Let me bring up that photo for you. So I've got shutters on the upper windows in the front, the lower windows in the front. You can see the shutters that have fallen off the side. So the shutters here have been removed, and there is some sense that shutters used to exist on this window.
So for the shutters that you're proposing, they're all new and you're gonna?
I'm proposing new cedar louvered shutters with iron brackets to mimic what would have been used on the house. And my client would be happy to omit the shutters if that's something.
Well, I'm curious what Ken would say in terms of on the side, and because you don't have them on the back, and kind of in keeping with the comments that Ken made earlier about the simplicity of this house. What was added since 1850, I'm wondering what's in keeping with the actual design, and likewise the railing in the front. If you're not keeping the railing as it exists at that low height, what is the proposal, and again, will that be historically accurate?
Yeah, I apologize if I wasn't clear. I actually am leaving that railing in the front. I'm not proposing to replace it. It's just that my railing on my deck in the back would need to meet current code. So that will be slightly taller. That was the only point I was trying to make.
Okay.
The railing's actually not in bad shape. It needs to be cleaned and repainted, but it's stable and it can be repurposed, or excuse me, renovated.
I'm wondering if you could even take the shutters off of the upper floor in the front, which is what the original looked like. And I mean, it's a 3-window front. I don't know what you think, Kim, but I think it might look nice.
Yep.
I mean, it looks much more simple there because now there's a porch on the front. So there's something nice about the repetition without those shutters.
I like that idea too.
Yeah. I think it's too much, the shutters. I really do. And I also would suggest it save your client money, but on the side as well, I'm not sure why so many shutters are being added on both sides.
If I'm taking them off the upper windows in the front, I think it only stands to reason I remove them from the side.
Yeah, I think so. I think it retains the character of the house.
Can you go back to those where you compared other elevations just for a second? But yeah, so if you roll up a little bit, You know, lots of different end conditions here, which was where the builder was making some expression. I think of Randy's house where there's a sort of end piece up there. You also might think about that. Again, I'm looking at on the other side of Ecker. I'm just looking at lots of images on the block. There's something decorative about the peak, and that might also help with that blank facade that we're looking at as it overlooks.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I really don't. It's just, again, I'm just trying to maintain and be sympathetic to the simplicity of this house.
Right, but look
This is a
again.
very large gable that has no decoration.
And that's the main house. That's the historic. You know, there's no. You'll never get it exactly right unless you measure it and you do the, you know, the 5-foot head and the whole thing. That's okay. You're already away from that. Just, you know, you give yourself a little bit more freedom with it, and you might find solutions. The trouble with so many houses was those proportions of those roofs were just, they're clumsy, and it looks, I'm going to say builder simple as opposed to this cut, the natural proportions of this house. I'm not being totally clear, but I look at each one of the ends. I'm not looking for much. It could be a change in the siding. It could be a louver. It could be whatever up at the top, a false
Some
louver.
type of treatment for the house.
Yeah, a gable end treatment. Yep. So I think we've given a lot of ideas.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to come back with to share them with us?
When,
by the way, we're not voting, just to be so you know.
That's correct.
Yes, I fully understand that I will be back in front of this board for approval. I would like to proceed with the planning board and then come back to you. I'm obviously going to go to the planning board with some of these suggestions. I don't think we're talking about anything material, and I think the planning board's concern was, do we think that it's appropriate to put an addition on this house, or do we feel like it's
given their role to deal with bulk, right? I think that's what they wanted to hear, our view of this bulk. Not bulk like a bad word, but just bulk as a definition. Yep.
Understood.
I mean, I don't think anyone would disagree that you have to add to this house to make it, you know, livable. It's a very small house. So is the person that bought this house, is he actually planning on living there? Because I know he has rental properties in town.
James told me him and his wife are moving out of Dobbs Ferry into Irvington.
Oh, okay. Good.
A lot of the plan elements were specifically designed for him and his family.
Wonderful.
Okay, do we have anything else to add before he goes back to the planning board and the zoning board, and before he comes back to us? He's got plenty to chew on, that's for sure.
When you come back, do show the stone pattern of the original house on the foundations.
On the foundation.
Yep.
Okay, so
you had mentioned 3D. Is that still something that we're expecting?
It might. I would be great to see it in 3D.
Yeah. Okay. If I can get to, those are hard to come by these days, but if I can get somebody, I can always do a sketch for you. If I can't get a computer rendering, I can sketch it for you.
It could just be a volumetric. That's all, you know, with the roofs and the windows. Yep.
Understood. So in my right, if you don't mind, I'm just going to go over the main points. We talked about removing the shutters in the upper portion of the front. We talked about eliminating the proposed shutters on the sides. We talked about coming up with some type of gable end treatment to soften that large triangle gable in the rear of the house. There was some mention about shifting the house over to the side. Now, is that something that the board feels?
What we're asking for is you to create a larger offset, certainly on the south side.
Okay, I understand which side we're looking for, so I can line it up where it's denser to its neighbor.
Yep. And if you do align this side, which we're looking at the right elevation,
correct,
there's a distinction between the new addition and the other, whether it's a panel or a corner. There's no corner boards on this house, right? Is that correct?
No, the house actually has 5/4 by 3 corners. They're not woven. There's not a 3-inch exposure on both sides. On one side, you have a 5/4 exposure, and on the other, you have 2.5.
Got
it. So, but I will put probably a 3.5-inch flat board at that separation.
Okay.
And then it looks like you have 6.5-inch round aluminum white gutters, right? Is that
correct.
Proposed? Okay.
Well, thanks for your patience.
Oh,
I
well,
was on,
thank you for-
I was on planning board when you waited last month too, or a couple of weeks ago too. So, but yeah, I mean, I know it's a huge undertaking and so
Yeah.
happy to see it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great.
It does. The house needs some love.
Okay.
All right, thank you for hearing me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Have a good evening.
Appreciate it. You too.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's move on. I think we're at 21-39, 8 West Sunnyside Lane, an addition.
Hi, good evening. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
How are you tonight? My name is Tom Haynes from Haynes Architecture. Hope everybody's doing well. Tonight I'm presenting in front of you an application at 8 West Sunnyside Lane. Our application we're presenting is for an an unenclosed covered porch. It's 221 square feet, and we are locating the proposed porch, the covered porch, in an existing patio location that's to the right side of the existing dwelling when looking at it from the front. If I may, I'd like to share my screen and I'll quickly walk you through the presentation, and then I'm happy to answer any questions.
Please do.
Thank you. Okay, can everybody see that?
Yep.
All right, so I'm starting on page A6, just some existing photographs, some of the adjacent properties from the subject dwelling. Up here on the top left is 102 Fargo Lane. We have 10 and 12 West Sunnyside Lane, which is located to the left of the subject property. And then I have some existing views here of the existing front of the dwelling, and also on the right side where the proposed unenclosed porch is going to be. We have a view on the, another view here from the right-hand side from the front. On this drawing here, I did notice, so apologies in advance, there the draftsperson did have typos with regards to which is the front and the rear elevation. The existing, these are existing plans dated from 1936, and essentially the bottom drawing here on the bottom left is actually the front elevation, not the rear, so just wanted to note that. But as you can see here to the right side of the existing front, there was an existing covered porch in this location here. So the owners have a need for some additional space. They want to have the area similar to what was original to the existing home. I feel that we added some additional architectural details to the covered porch area that will be more in line with the architecture of the existing house. And again, here you can see in the top right, here is the right side elevation, and the top left drawing here is actually the view from the rear of the existing house. So I'm just going to jump ahead back. So this is our plot plan. I'm going to zoom in a little bit here. So as you can see, an overall bird's eye view on a plot plan. This is the existing dwelling here. The existing patio, which was the location of the former covered porch, is located in this area here. And that's the area that we're looking to propose our addition at this time. I would like to note that there is really no site disturbance on this. We are building on the perimeter and existing perimeter foundation and footings that exist in that location currently. And across the front here, there's a little knee wall that we're just proposing to remove in order to build the structure.
We approved modifications to the garage, right? That's what we've previously approved?
I believe so. I was not the architect of record at that time for that project, but I do believe that that was the case. I think that the my clients, Mr. and Mrs. Haddad, are on the line here, and they just confirmed with me via text message that that is in fact correct with regards to the garage. Okay, so moving ahead, just quickly take you through the plans. So this is an existing demolition plans for the floor plan itself and elevations. On the top left here, we're just showing the existing and the extent of that knee wall that we're removing. Existing stone over a concrete patio is to remain in place. As we scroll down here, you can see in the top right, it's the existing front elevation. So we're removing the section of knee wall here. And we have our respective other views of the right side here and the rear elevation as well. So proceeding down, this is our proposed floor plan. We have a series of columns and divisions which we took into account on the balance from the exterior view and an arrangement to sort of split up the windows or the screening, so to speak, and provide some picture moldings beneath just to provide additional detail to this. And there will be a set of double doors towards the rear that will lead out and go to the rear yard. As we move along here on the drawings, this is what the proposed elevation will look like. We took just some cues off the original architectural stylings of the house. So similar to the front portico columns, we are going to have columns in a similar language here. The screens are shown here in between, so there'll be a system of 3 with a screen hatch pattern here. This would be the screened area. All of this is going to be proposed with asphalt shingles, which would match existing. All of the trim would be AZAC composite material just for maintenance purposes. We are going to propose some dental moldings to match in the portico in the front here. We are going to have some fixed AZAC panels in between all of these columns. Right here is showing the line of existing grade. So this is the view of the rear. We'll have the series of double doors centered in the middle, fixed AZAC panels on either side, which will allow, again, us to propose screens on either side. The door will also just be we'll have screens in between as well. There's no windows being proposed in this. And this is a view from the right side elevation, again, mimicking the same style and rhythm that's on the front and the rear side. And we also have fixed AZAC panels up here in the roof line on the rake side of the roof. We had some additional details of our sections through the space. And as we proceed down to the last page, we did a sort of a light type rendering here, just showing the side view of this and calling out all of our finished materials with samples here of the asphalt shingles to match existing, the better view insect screen, the dental moldings, and our crown details and such that would take place in that. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Can you roll up slightly so you can see the elevation? This
view?
Yeah.
Or back to the main?
That's it. That's fine.
Okay.
But I noticed this funky asymmetry in the top. What? This looks like it's overhanging more than that side.
So I don't believe, I think it's just because of this vertical line in the distance that's just throwing
I
it off.
see.
But
Got it.
yeah.
Thank you. Because you
Yeah,
have
no
a
worries.
shadow. The reason I say that is, yes, that's what it is. Your shadow's not quite reading.
Okay.
Fine. And can you explain why you're putting the AZAC panel up top there instead of screen, since it's this little edicule?
I think it was you're talking about up in these fixed triangular pieces here.
Yep.
I felt that it was just, to be honest with you, I just felt that it would look better and match and tie in a little bit better with our fixed panels below. I mean, we're open to, I'm sure the owners would be open for screening. I don't know if it's going to help a little bit to have that more solid up in the roof for I don't know, wind purposes or anything like that. But we just felt that it was a better balance to tie in with below.
Yep. By the way, all I'm doing is looking at all these primitive huts that were all built in the 19th century. Okay. Yeah, they're always open up at the top because that's the sort of idea. But I'm not going to complain if they want it closed. I just thought it would be, and it's all open, right, inside?
Correct.
All the way up to the, and are the beams exposed inside, or is it finished?
Inside, no, I believe we'd call it to be finished inside. I think we have a composite trim in there, I believe. Oh no, yeah. So there's a red. We're proposing a red cedar finish to the inside. So we will have. I apologize. We will have some exposed collar ties in here, and we'll have a cedar finish on those, on the inside.
Can I just ask about one detail?
Sure.
The divide you have in the gable
Yes.
above the columns, that part, could you just make it one? Take out that divide?
In here?
Yes.
So we could, I did want to have a post in here for structural purposes to carry the ridge since it is a cathedral inside. So
But
that's why.
do you have to carry it forth to show as trim on the outside, or can you do it from the inside?
I would have to study the profiling of that to see.
Just to show you why he's doing that. It's like an architect thing.
I know, but I've seen it done without it, and I thought I don't know, it starts to get very busy with the 3 on the bottom and the.
I think though, if you're gonna see that it's one fixed larger panel like that, I would make the assumption that there would be either, some either just ceiling joists in there that are tying the whole system together, or there would be collar ties that were finished flat underneath that really acted as joists that were just a little bit higher than the sill plate. And again, the real reason that it's pronounced like that is because there will be posts that are large enough on that end there. And we're using that as an opportunity to divide that and just give it a little bit more interest than one larger fixed panel, because the post will be in place. But I don't think that,
Well, I understand if it's functional. I just thought it might look nicer.
Correct. That's the purpose first and foremost of this, but it gave us the opportunity to kind of use the same language as below.
Every time I see one of these primitive hut little add-on, I want to simplify it to sort of what Gail's calling for. And I think losing the multiple AZAC panels there, or doing
it's just a lot.
Or something.
It's a gorgeous house and it's a gorgeous proposal, but it seems like a lot of detail on this side here.
I can certainly see, I mean, I'm sure if the board was, going to be favorable with our proposal, I don't know if it was something that we can get a conditional approval if the owner so chose to put screening up there instead, but we will need that. He just texted me that the screen does work on top for him. So we would be amenable to changing that instead of the AZAC panels to screening. However, we would still have that vertical, division here between the two sides. But if that helps simplify things for you, we'd be open to doing that conditionally.
Okay. That's my only other comment.
I kind of liked it as wood, but just as one piece, one elongated.
We could extend the rake side so that we can fly a panel, finish right across in front of that vertical, if that works.
I'm going to disagree with you, Gail. I'm going to disagree. I got it. This is it.
Go for it, Ken.
I'm going to disagree. I'd pull up pictures of 19th century primitive huts and how they were doing them and building them. And they always, if you were going to have a center post, that's, you express it.
I know. I have a picture here, but I don't have access to send it to you unless I just texted it. But so it's okay. I'll defer to the architect.
No. I'm going to show you. There you go.
Okay.
Primitive hut. 101. Except he's not using logs. He's using,
Yeah. Are we in agreement that those architectural panels, the triangles, should be mesh, or should they be solid wood?
Mesh.
Yeah.
Insect screen.
I like the screen.
Okay. So I believe Tom said that he would be amenable, and the owner would be amenable to that. So does anybody else have any questions, concerns about the project in general? Okay, so that will make a conditional approval based on screening in the top gables. The architectural panels be replaced by screening, same screening that is in the lower portions. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Thank you all very much. I really appreciate your time. Have a good night.
Thank you.
You too.
Okay. Moving along, we've got a couple of decks left. ARB 21-4026 Willow Street deck. John Blow.
There's a new function that you guys have where it announces that this meeting is being recorded.
Yeah.
Whenever you join. Little.
So be aware.
I know. It's not
How long-
something that is wrong for me to be told, actually. So I think we're doing Willow 26 first.
Yep, 26 Willow.
So this is a house in the Tree Streets on Willow. I think it was built in the 70s. It is a strange melange of styles. I'm not sure what it is. It's yeah, but it's a split level house, and it has no access to the rear yard right now. So there's an existing deck on the rear yard with no access to the rear yard from the rear yard. So using the rear yard is difficult. There is access to the basement through the mechanical room. So the project is just to add a small deck extension. It's basically rebuild this deck with a new, better rail and a set of stairs down. The proposal is to have that deck be painted, the wood portion of the deck, the post and the trim to be painted to match the trim of the house. So if they ever repaint the house or do something, change the siding or something, it would match that. And then the only mahogany portions of it are the top rail where your hand touches, and the decking would be mahogany. So that's really all there is to it. The other part of the proposal is there's a fence at the property line that we're showing as a sort of simple modern fence. If I can find where that detail is now here. You guys can see that. And that is running along the rear property line here. And that's replacing an existing fence that's failing in that area.
What's the height of the fence, John?
It is now a 5-foot max.
What's the material of the fence, John?
The fence is a mahogany, so it's meant to just be a dark fence. It's not to be painted. Yeah, let me see what it says. Yeah, it's a clear finished mahogany fence. So I think the house right now is 60s house with references to some kind of, I don't know, that has a very chunky siding on it, something like that. I think in the future, what would make sense would be for the house to maybe be pulled more towards the modern, like maybe simplify the siding and the windows, remove the shutters and make it look like a split level if you're going to do that. So the fence is sort of predicting that kind of future for the house where it gets moved in solidly into the 60s and away from, whatever this shutter window box stuff that's going on here is.
John, you have is there a gate on that fence?
There is. So the gate is shown. The gate is just similar to the fence.
And that's what, 3 foot? Okay, 3 foot wide.
Yeah, it's 3 foot wide.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any questions from the board?
No, nice choices. Yeah.
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Guys.
I believe you're on the next one as well, John?
Yeah.
4 Camden.
Oh, I'm already
Wait,
sure.
hold on. This is ARB 21-41, 4 Camden Court, the deck also.
Yeah, so this is 4 Camden Court. It is a Legend Hollow stucco Italian 8, I would say. The rear of the house has an existing deck on it that we're modifying, expanding. It has a red AZAC in it and a plastic, hollow plastic vinyl railing. The configuration of the deck is changing a little bit. In plan, I think you can see here. The dark line, the dotted line here shows the configuration of the existing deck, and it extends all the way over the rear of the house here. So the deck is being reduced to this area, and the stairs down are being moved to this side, and then there's stairs to the basement and some retaining walls and stuff like that. So the decking, we're proposing a mahogany deck. The rail is kind of a more modern, traditional rail. The interiors that modifications that we made to the house recently are more modern, like sort of bringing it into kind of a, lighter wood finishes and, flush cabinet interior. So what's being proposed here is a mahogany top rail on the, again, where your hand is, that would not have paint. But the rest of the solid components are painted to match the trim, and there's a cable rail, a stainless steel cable rail, instead of a traditional rail. There's a lattice below that's like a cedar lattice that's running horizontal and vertical. For the retaining wall in the rear here, there's a retaining wall as part of a step with a little planting area on either side. Just see if I can get that detail for that. So the stairs that are in that area and the retaining wall, the parts that would be exposed just have a parged finish, like a simple parged cement-based finish, and then they have a bluestone cap on them. So it's kind of like, it's meant to be very quiet. It's just a bluestone patio, bluestone treads. The wall has a matching bluestone cap because it's aligned with the top of the top tread of that. And then there's an enclosure around the AC units that has a vertical cedar board on it. But the deck again is very simple, and that's kind of, the deck is sort of the most visible part of it. I'm sorry, moving the wrong way.
Is there a door that's being changed to a window?
Oh, there is a door also here. I'll show that. The door down here is a patio door, a new patio door that's being added. It's shown that it's basically a little bit below grade from where this grade line cut is. And that is, what is the patio door? I'm sure it's a Marvin that is white to just match the rest of the doors, but let me just check and see if I can find the schedule. I think it might be called out in the let's see if I can find where it is. Oh yeah, it's just called out as a Marvin door here. The new window is Marvin Elevate. The door I believe is Marvin too. I don't know why I'm having trouble finding it. But again, the finish of the windows is basically just a white. It's a white vinyl right now.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. And I think that's it. Is there any other questions, thoughts on this one? I'm not giving you very hard ones. The original house was built in 1780, and the deck was added in. No, I'm getting punch drunk now because I watched a lot of the meeting.
In your modernization, are you going to be removing the keystones above the window, or is that just a historic?
No, you
guys
do not go there. Yeah, the interior.
You really could strip this down to stucco and black window frames, and you'd be modern. You'd get your dream.
Yeah, it would be cool. It would be cool.
Yeah.
The inside is going that way, so maybe give it time. It might come back to you.
But that community group would string you up like the rebel you are.
Yeah, I don't think for this deck. I think, this is pretty safe. I think we'll be okay.
We're good.
Any other questions from anybody?
No.
Nope.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks a lot,
Good to
guys.
go, Mr. Malone.
Have a good night.
Aye.
You too, you too.
Thanks, John.
Okay. That concludes the fun for this evening, ladies and
Oh,
gentlemen.
Rick, I'm sorry. 32 South Ecker Street is here. Earlier.
We approved it. Oh, no, that's right. You're right. You're right. Okay. Thought we were done, folks. Okay, we're going to 21-36, 32 South Ecker, exterior elevation change.
We needed a minute for those of us that can hear the fire whistle.
Yeah.
I heard it as well.
Yeah, we could all hear it, but not as well as you can, Gil and Deb.
That's true. Yeah, and Randy.
And Randy, right.
And Randy,
More
Randy
than
gets
anybody, right.
And Ken.
All right.
How's everyone this evening?
Weary.
Yeah.
You hear me loud and clear, I hope.
Yes.
Yes.
We
Okay.
see you as well.
All right, so I'm gonna screen share here and share with you the plans that I have for the driveway at 32 South Ecker.
Okay.
Okay. Let's minimize here.
It's not letting you.
No, it's not. Do you see my screen?
Yep. You're signing into.
Okay, very good. All right, so here we've got the drawings, if you can see these, for 32 South Ecker. On the drawing, you can see the existing condition. There's a gate there with a fence. So we're applying for a curb cut of 12 feet and a dual permeable paver driveway. So in between the two permeable paver driveway, I guess you could call these like tire lanes. Then there would be pea gravel, permeable pea gravel, and to border the end of the driveway would be like a cobblestone border here.
Okay.
Pretty simple design. I did go before the planning board to have one public space removed and discuss the particulars of how we're going to execute the project.
Mhm.
Do you have samples of the pavers, the permeable pavers or the cobblestone, or can you tell us about color or anything? Or?
Yeah, it's just it'll match the pea gravel. It'll be a dark gray. There's no, it's not an aesthetic thing really.
No, that's good. I didn't want it to be. So
Yeah, it's
no,
just
simple,
kind of
simple.
blends in with everything on the ground, you know.
Okay.
So you indicate you're removing the stockade fence?
No, the stockade fence here is going to stay.
That stays. The other fence is, you're removing a fence and a gate though, the fence on the other side?
So this area here, this is the only fence that's being removed, is the fence that faces the street. And it's about 12 and a half feet of fencing.
Okay. Any other questions?
No, I guess just for my notes, is the stockade fence yours or the neighbor's?
That is mine.
Okay. Anybody else? Questions? Okay. I will make a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.
Great. Thanks, everyone.
Luck.
Have a good night.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Like I was saying, that concludes the fun, ladies and gents. I I don't have any other new business or old business. Anybody? Questions, concerns? I will make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thanks.
Good night.
Thank you, Rick.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay, thanks. Thanks, Sarah.
No problem. Have a good night.
Night.